I was that person who always said, I can't do the Ironman. And I made every excuse. I can't swim very well. And then I had the honor to go to a graduation on a military base. And I was so impressed by them, not only physically, but mental strength. They were incredible. When I got on that plane ride home, I said, I need to do something to challenge myself physically, but also something mentally that pushed me to the wall. And I finally said, you know what? I'm going for it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to learn the things I don't know how to do. And it's going to be hard as heck. And I don't know if I'm going to get there, but I'm sure that I'm going to try. I'm Dave Pygon, president of Pygon 1 Consulting, and I am an Ironman. We teach people and organizations how to do the hard things, especially what they don't like to do. It's hard, I get it. That's why everybody doesn't do it. I think some of the data out there says 0.01% of the people in the world have done an Ironman, a full Ironman, which is a 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike, and a marathon, full marathon, 26.2 marathon mile run. The cutoff is 17 hours, so there's a pressure. In each sport, you can't be totally horrible at because you've got to get out of the water in 2 hours and 20 minutes. You got to get off the bike by 10 hours and 30 minutes, and that includes the swim. And then you got to complete your run within 17 hours. Right off the bat, Casey in Ohio, good friend of mine, met at Alcon working years ago, always been a good friend. I called him when I made the decision. I said, Casey, here's my idea. Here's what I'm thinking. One of my motivators in life is to do hard things. I just like it. And it's not that I'm better than anybody. It empowers me. It makes me feel good. And I said, this is what I'm going to do. What do you think? And then I said, will you be my coach? And from there, we went on, developed a plan, and I'm here today. The first day to the day I actually did the full Ironman race was 431 days, which comes out to being 61 weeks, 6 days a week. It's February 15th, 2025. Today's day one of adding a brick to my workouts. A brick is you do two of the sports for the Ironman right after each other, back to back. So I just completed indoors, 35 miles, a bunch of hills for 3 hours biking. And now I've got a 1.5 mile run, and this I'm doing outside. Some would say some are painful and disadvantage. I'm viewing it differently from a mindset perspective. I think running in the snow, it's about 18 degrees out right now. I think it'll help me on those tough, hard, they call them dark moments in the Ironman. During the race, these kind of things hopefully will harden me and prepare me for some of those dark, difficult moments. I built a tribe. Some people call it support systems. In my book, To Win the 16, I talk about building your support system. For this, I called them my tribe. From my physical therapist when I got hurt during the process, to my acupuncturist that I use, to other Ironmen and their perspectives, and researching from books, blogs. I really think the critical point was this. What was my goals with doing the Ironman? And it was really simply two things. I wanted to finish, was one. Two, I wanted to finish somewhat healthy. I did not want to be laid up afterwards for 6 months with a torn ACL. That was critical in the whole process because it started with the plan. My plan might have been longer than others because I wanted to start off slow. The first week, it was easier than what I was already doing. And what I mean by that is it was a 2-mile run. It was 400 meters swimming. Now, The swimming was a little harder because I was learning how to swim, and I took lessons because my swimming was not good, and I ended up being a below average swimmer, no questions.
I just finished my swim. It was 2 miles, which is long for me. That's a lot of time in the water. And I can tell you today was nothing more than belief. It was not about technique. I struggled mentally. I was like, I don't want to do this. I can't do this. My breathing was causing some issues and challenges. I struggle with that at times. I just don't love being underwater, ultimately is what it is. But belief got me through. It was all about, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. I spent probably a good 5 minutes of my swim as I was swimming just saying, believe you can do this, you can do this, you got this, you got this. I'm sure all of us need that sometime, and today it pulled me through. Win the 16.
And I think that's really what was great about this process for me was I not only had to learn how to properly swim to be able to do it for 2.5 miles or 2.4 miles, but I had to learn how to properly ride a bike. There was just so many things I had to learn from all these other Ironman and the books because you just don't get on a bike. And I get this question all the time. Which of the sports were you good at? None.
Do you ever get that day where you just don't want to do the hard stuff? You want to do the minimal. Today was one of those days, Ironman training. And I said to myself, just one more day. Do the hard today. Just today. Just today. Get through today. I think that's a great advice for all of us in the business world, whatever we're doing. Just get through it today. We'll worry about tomorrow. Just do it today.
And as Casey taught me is, slow twitch muscles are completely different than the fast twitch muscles. And that's what I had to learn. I remember early on I was doing these runs and I was averaging 9.5 minute miles, 9:20, running 4 miles. He was communicating, you got to slow down. We need you at 10.5, at 11, 11.5. You're going to be out there a long time. We need to build those muscles. I don't want your heart rate so high. You're not going to be able to sustain 130, 120. So I had to learn how to control my heart rate. And it was hard because the other thing is this. When you do an Ironman, you're not wearing headphones on the bike or running. So you really have to get comfortable with yourself. And let me tell everybody out there, to be good at almost anything in life, at times it's boring. It's not mentally stimulating. Your mind runs places. And sometimes it runs to what I call the pain cave. The pain cave is, you feel the pain. This hurts. I don't like it. And then our brain comes running in saying, hey, I'll save you, Dave. You don't need to do this anymore. Stop. Save your energy. This is hurting. Time to go home. And those are all the things you learn during this process, which is amazing.
A word I wish I would have embraced earlier on or been better at in my career, that's really been pivotal, whether it's been the business, the book, and now it's been a multiplier in the Ironman training process. And that's patience. To do anything hard or something at a high level, whatever you define a high level, it usually takes an exuberant amount of patience. And that's been pivotal in the Ironman journey, the book, and in Pygon 1. I wish I would have been better at this earlier in my career. Win the 16.
Over my years, not only starting my own company and writing a book, you had to get through this pain, but it was a different type of pain. Playing sports, I was blessed. Many painful moments I had, but this is different because it's so long and so boring at times. Your mind is playing games. And my one son, Jason, we talk about this all the time. He's really into this. The inner critic in our head saying, you're not good at this. You're not going to be able to be in the water for 2 hours and swim 2.4 miles. You're not going to be able to ride a bike. There's not all these hills in Chicago to train on like the course you're going to be on, Madison. All of these things. You're 55 years old and you're starting the Ironman endurance journey. You can't do it. So that's all the inner critic doing, trying to hold you down. Really what it's doing is it's taking the ceiling we all have and it's squashing it and making it smaller, smaller, smaller.
Today's a milestone. You gotta believe. Whenever you're trying to do something and evolving and changing, belief's huge. Whether something small or big. Today the milestone is we're in the 8th month of training for Ironman. 6 more to go. But the milestone is I hit 3,000 meters swimming. Wasn't easy. It was really hard. And I've got to get to just under 3,900 meters to complete the Ironman, the full 140.6 Ironman in September. But we got to celebrate these wins. During this process and many processes, a lot of times we have to take a step back or two to make a step or two forward. And that's really what's been going on. And gotta believe, everybody. Win the 16.
I was talking to a sports psychologist, Ethan. He gave me a great example. We were having breakfast one day, and he said, Dave, you're the driver of the bus. Those negative thoughts in your mind, I want you to push them to the bus, saying you're not welcome in the front row. You need to get in the back, and we're going to take and put in the front positive thoughts, as well as what I added to was neutral thoughts. I like the acupuncturists who were putting long needles in the bottom of my feet when I got plantar fasciitis 3 weeks out from the race. And she's like, normally I don't do that because it's really painful. And I'm like, do it. You're not going to have a positive mindset when Melissa did that. What I trained myself throughout this process was, Dave, get to a neutral mindset. Don't be negative. And you're clearly not going to be positive. Actually, in the book, I call it positive toxicity. Those people who run around, this is great. And the rest of us are thinking, you got a needle in your foot. That's not great. I try to use it as a motivator and not always as a pressure moment. Not easy, but we all can do it. You need help, though. You need a tribe. You need a support system. And I was blessed. My brother, Bud, and Al were on my text change. Al's a Harvard doctor. My brother's a doc, too. Brilliant people. Super smart, super analytical. They were great sounding boards. They weren't experts in Ironman, but they were experts on me. They were experts on health. They knew enough to be dangerous in the world of nutrition and inflammation in the body. So they were able to help me through. So everybody played a role. My wife, who's a school teacher and amazing, she's an expert at empathy and kindness. My kids are ex-athletes. They're a combination of, Dad, you can do this, and positivity, but also fighting and being tough. So everybody, Ari played his role, everybody, Casey and my other coaches, Rugia, and the list goes on. There's 2 schools of thought about goal setting. Some people, they set goals and they say, keep it yourself. Totally respect that opinion. I don't agree with that personally. I believe when you set a goal and you believe in it, I want you, Faith, to tell me, hey, Dave, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? You might make my goal better, different. You might see something that I don't, because we all have blind spots. I don't care if you're a CEO. I don't care if you're a business owner. Don't care if you're a school teacher, plumber, whatever you do for a living. You're amazing, but we all have blind spots. So you might help me define my goal better than. But the other thing is, we all have an ego to some degree. And if you can get it out there, what you're going to do, it puts this, in my opinion, an intrinsic, I don't want to say pressure, intrinsic motivation. So I never had that, I'm not going to do it, but here's what I did. I had fear. I was afraid. Everybody, I got scared many moments. I had self-doubt. I got out of the pool in January. I'll never forget this moment. I've got my baseball hat on backwards. It's 5:30 in the morning. It's cold as hay in Chicago. Walked into the gym, got in the pool. At 5:30 a.m., there's only 2 types of people usually in a pool. One is dolphins, people that are amazing at swimming, college people who used to swim, wonderful swimmers. The other people are the geriatric community who are in the pool, doing their walking, doing their whatever they do. And then there's me. I get in the water, and I kid you not, I was 2 laps in, and it wasn't the first time. I had to get out. I was starting to get that panicky feeling, overwhelmed. I just was breathing heavy. The other thing I uncovered was, once I got out of the water, walked around a little bit, got back in, and just said, you don't get out. You go 4 laps, you're not stopping. Once I got through that and got going, before you know it, I got my workout in. The challenge for me was that really never ended.
Get those days or moments where you just don't feel like you want to do it. Emotions are not going in your favor. Today was one of those days for me. Monday morning training, getting in the pool, I didn't have it. I used a little trick that helped me, and I did my countdown: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. From the time I left my house this morning till actually I used it again when I was about to get ready to go in the pool and I was stretching and trying to get fired up. I just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, jumped in, and I got to tell you, before you knew it, about 10 minutes in, it wasn't fun, pretty brutal mentally, but once I get to about 10 minutes, I started getting into it, and I actually had a productive day. The point of the story is mindset. It can help us or it can hurt us. Today was going to hurt me unless I did something about it and overrode that block of, I don't feel like doing it. Win the 16, everybody.
I didn't necessarily always get out of the pool, but even in March, very similar. So I didn't have to get out, but I had to stop. Had to catch my breath. Open water swimming once it got nice out in Chicago. One time I swam to where the ladder is to get out. I didn't get out, but I had to stop, and that was June. And the half Ironman was 3 weeks away. So I did the half to get me ready and prepared for the full Ironman in September. So when I did the half, that was the first time I ever did a half marathon on June 22nd. And I was delivered a gift that day. It was 97 degrees, 105 with the humidity and all that stuff. For me, I don't mind the hot. I didn't love it. I didn't say it made it easier, but what it did for me was it forced me to learn how to adjust. Example being, once we learned how hot it was going to be, Casey, my brother, Al, all the people who were helping me with nutrition, I had to up my sodium, my electrolytes. Because to be an Ironman, the other thing I learned is you've got to fuel your body every hour, on the hour. You can't miss. The other thing is your stomach taking in these gels and all the liquids, you don't feel good. Your GI, I would love to meet the person who does a full Ironman or even a half who says, oh yeah, my stomach felt great the whole time. Just because you're putting all the sugar and carbs. So my plan was I was going to do 80 to 100 carbs per hour. My sodium intake, we tested it. There's different ways you can test your sodium. And I did that. And then, but since it was so hot, I was going to sweat more. I'm an average sweater. We knew that. I had to up it. And I did less water. So in my sodium, which is mixed with water, I really just stuck with that because I didn't want to lose my electrolyte balance. My point is, it caused adversity. It caused me to change. And isn't that what life is about? We have the best plan in place. At work, we're going to do this, this, and this. Or at family, we're going to do this, this, this. And then all of a sudden, somebody doesn't show up for work. Or the competitor comes out with a brand new product right as we're launching that changes everything, right? That's what the Ironman's about. It's no different than work. You set the best plan. I know the Navy SEALs always talk about it. We go and set a great plan. We think about all the things that possibly could go wrong, and we practice that. And guess what happens? Something else happens, and we have to be agile. We have to evolve. We have to modify the plan. That is what the Ironman is all about, not just for the half, but even during the practices and the trainings. And I got hurt literally 3 weeks before the full Ironman. So it was August 16th. The full was September 7th. I did my 100-mile bike. I was so proud of myself. I'm like, I think I can do it. I went for a little short run after the bike. An hour later, my foot blew up, both of them. Turns out I had plantar fasciitis on both, Morton's neuroma, which is where your foot throbs, and then I had peroneal tendonitis. I couldn't even walk that night. So I was like, Houston, we got a problem. What was my mindset like? Scarcity of resources. My feet don't work. Negative. If I can't walk, I can't run, I can't ride a bike. I got dark that night. Woke up the next morning, started getting out to my resources, my brother, Al, I don't know who are my texts, brilliant guys. Casey, my coach, my sister-in-law was a physical therapist. Before you know it, I was at my sister-in-law's house. She's like, I think here's what you've got going on. She's like, I know you're not going to stop. You're going to try to get through this. So here's the plan. She gave me a recommendation. Then I got my acupuncturist involved. And before you know it, here we go.
When we lay out a plan, we've all intentions for it to run smooth A to Z, but that's just not how life works, professionally or personally. Last night, my Ironman training got blown up on me. After my workout, my foot blew up. It's tremendously sore. Couldn't walk on it. So today I've got to do a different plan. I've got 21 days to get somewhat healthy for the Ironman race. So my plan now is going to be completely different. I'm going to be all about getting healthy somehow, some way. Not ideal, but I'm going to have to use a strong, good, positive, optimistic, focused, strategic mindset, as well as belief I can do this in 21 days from now. And remember, there's no guarantees. I have no idea. This is all a first for me and this injury. I think a lot of us have that in whatever we're trying to accomplish. Win the 16.
I was planning on finishing the swim about 2 hours, the 2.4 miles. I was disciplined beyond belief on creating a habit based on the recommendations I got from the experts on what to do before a race. I listened to Born in the USA, albums by Springsteen. It puts me in a happy place. It gets me going, but not too going, because you don't want to get too high and you don't want to get too much adrenaline. But it just put me in a good place. So I get in the water. I was going to swim far left, getting away from all the fast, talented swimmers. I wanted to be away from people. I tried to go extra slow, breathing. I got uncomfortable, as unfortunately I thought I might. I wasn't going to stop, but I was like starting to feel like I was breathing heavy. I just said, keep going, you've got this. The mantra we had for my Ironman was, and Casey came up with it, was, we actually had shirts that said it on the back, no exit ramps. No exit ramps. We're going to start the race, and we are not stopping until we finish. I love that. I just kept saying that. The race turned for me about 600 meters in. I was swimming, and I always felt I was an inadequate swimmer. I wasn't very good, okay? Which is factual. But what I did, it was hurting me, and it changed in the race. I got about 600 meters out. I got kicked right in the face. Pretty good. It was a wake-up call. About 100 meters later, I got punched right here on the side where my goggles were. Both of them, they were unintentional. My experience in the water was a little different than other people. I ended up getting hit, kicked, all that. People were very kind and nice. No one was doing it purposely. Nobody was like, I am going to swim over this guy. That was not my experience at all. And now, granted, I try to start far left away from people too, which I think was a good strategy for me. But what it did for me, both of those experiences, it woke me up. And it said, Dave, yes, you are not a good swimmer. But you know what? You're here to compete today. You're not backing down from anybody. You are going to swim. And if people hit you, that's okay. And if you bump into people, that's okay too. You go do your race. And my competitiveness came out. And just because I'm not as good as somebody else, that doesn't mean, and it's not that I was backing down, but I kind of was. And I really thought in the business world, when I coach and I teach CEOs and individual contributors, I always tell them, you're not there to be as smart necessarily as the person next to you. But that doesn't mean you're not there to do your job. And my job was to start and finish that swim. That's it. And that's why I teach people all the time. I just needed to tell myself that and give my inner critic that own advice that you do you. 2 highlights for the Ironman for me. Biking is really hard in the city of Madison in the state of Wisconsin. They're known to have one of the hardest bike courses, not only in the United States, but in the world. It's just all hills. It's relentless. It's relentless. So I acknowledge that to everyone out there. With that said, though, for me, my race was going to be dictated on the start. And if you do the math, the swim is only about 8 to 12% of your total day. For me, it was 15 hours and 50 minutes. 10% of my race was in the water, but it set the tone for the entire day for me. If you don't get out of the water, your day is done and your family's going home and Faith is videotaping is over. I wanted to give myself a little buffer from that 2:20 mark, because if you don't finish in 2:20, you're done. If you do finish in 2 hours and 20, let's say 18 minutes, you make it by 2 minutes, but now that puts pressure on your bike, because the bike, you got to be off in a total of 10 hours and 30 minutes. So if you use 2:20 on the swim, you now only have 8 hours and 10 minutes to do the bike. And that includes transition of changing clothes, helmet, getting on the bike. It was historical. I broke through my ceiling. None of us. One of my sons was like, Dad, you're not going to believe this. You got 1:38. And because I didn't really know my exact time. So when I came out of the water, it was a goosebump moment for me, because now it changed my strategy. It changed my plan, Faith. I could modify it now. I could get a little bit more comfortable to the bike, make sure I was 100% dry. When I got out of the water, it was a goosebump. I was so jacked up. I was so ecstatic, so proud, because when I got out, I said to myself, you're going to do it. So now let's fast forward. I got through the bike, which was tremendously hard. It's hard, relentless. And it's like work. It doesn't stop. For those of you who are on the phone a lot and it keeps ringing and emails don't stop and they don't stop and they keep coming. The teachers out there, the problems, the students, the parents' calls, all that, it's relentless. You have those moments. That's the bike. It doesn't stop. So what I used was the people riding next to me as influence. When I would go by people and pass them on the left, I would say this, on your left, my friend, you're doing great. And I would smile because I wanted them to know I wasn't better than them because I was passing. And I would say to them, many of them would say, thank you. And then I would say, you're going to be by me soon. We're going to be in this together all day. And sometimes I go, how was the swim? Just for them to communicate. So I use them as my support system in tribe during the race. Sometimes we would talk a little bit. Sometimes we wouldn't. It really just depends. So that helped me get through the bike. And then when I finished with the bike, my kids were there and they're like, Dad, you killed it. You've got 7 hours to get the run. Faith, I knew that I was going to be an Ironman. The only thing that was going to stop me was if my feet just gave out, because again, I was fighting those issues. So what I did was my transition was a little longer than the Ironman people would like. It took me 22 minutes to get out of transition. They want you around 10 minutes. But I had the time. So I was stretching my feet. So this goes back to the Navy SEAL mindset about things changed, so I changed my plan. I changed my strategy now. Because my strategy now was still just finish, but I had the opportunity to stretch more, to drink an extra cup of chicken soup that they were giving out. I was able to do that and modify my behavior because I didn't have the stress of, oh, you got to get out there because you got to do this run in 6 hours. I had 7 hours. So I used that. I used my emotional intelligence. I used my strategic mindset. And I put together a new plan based on that. It got really dark for me at around 11 or 12, 13, 14 miles. It was completely dark. It was part of the course where it was not lit very well. I was now running all by myself, and it got overwhelming. My tribe came in. I saw Coach Casey. I said, you got to round everybody up. I need somebody every couple miles. My kids, they jogged and ran along the sidewalk for me a bunch at the end of the race, just talking, Dad, you're doing great, all of that. I know at work we all can't have that, But what we sure can't have at work is when things get hard, we can pick up the phone. And I know sometimes it's good to just tell people, hey, this is hard. Or I know sometimes it's good to call and kind of complain. But it's also good to call people and say, I need help. I'm in a bad, dark moment at work right now. That's what I did. They helped me. When I got to the finish line, I was not only racing for me, I was racing for everybody who was a part of this. That's what that moment was like. And that's overwhelming. When you're doing something for more than just yourself, it is a goosebump moment. Now, hey, everybody, I'm a human. Was I proud of myself? Like, I'm an Ironman. Like, I am now in the class of 0.01% of the humans. Yeah, that's amazing, right? That's great. That's incredible. I thought all of that. And I should, right? All that work, 61 weeks, of course. But what made it even greater was I was doing it for all these people that flew into Madison, which isn't the easiest place to get to, drove up to Madison, gave up their weekend, gave up their day. I told all of them, how tired are you getting up at 5 a.m. to get to the start race? And now it's 11:10 at night. When you pull all that together, it's emotional. So coming down, you're getting those moments and feelings of greatness for yourself, but also for your friends and family who came, and the support system, and your video team who came up, and coaches and all these people. So it's an amazing moment. And it's a lot like at work when you finish that project that you never think you're going to finish. Because remember, I had doubt and fear during the entire process. Like, can I do it? How's my body going to react? Isn't that how we get at work, especially as salespeople in business world? Like, the bosses say, here's your number you got to hit. And you're like, you want me to grow by 20%? It's overwhelming. We're scared. Sometimes we fight back. We sometimes complain about it. Same thing in the Ironman. It's the exact same thing. You go through those emotions. We use this at work all the time. We always talk about our talent pool. Not only our talent pool within the organizations, but talent pool outside the organizations that we might need them one day for whatever reason. We all have in our lives, whether it's professional or personal, we have talent, and we have people that care about us, and we have smart people. I mentioned to many people, my wife is the empathetic, caring, supportive, you can do this, kind, smile, positive. My brother is the critical thinker, asks good questions, gets you to think. When he shares stuff, it's well thought out. Same thing with Nick on the East Coast. When people are going through hard, I would say it's okay, one, to go dark and say, this is bad. But I also would say then go reach out to the people in your life who are going to be empathetic with you, but also then are going to say, I hear you. Now, how do we get through it? There is a difference between empathy and sympathy. Sympathy is poor you, oh, I feel bad for you. And there are people in our lives who do that, and we love them. I would just say we kind of need to park them a little bit because they're not helping us, because their sympathy is nice, but it's really condoning us not getting out of the problem we're in. Empathy is, hey, talk to me, tell me about it. But empathetic people then can help us get to now, okay, now we know we got this problem at work or here. What are you going to do to get out of it? What do you need? What are your resources? Sympathy can sometimes bring people to have scarcity mindset, meaning I don't have this, I don't have that. Do you know what this problem's like? The abundance mindset would be, you know what? I do have this. I do have that. I am talented. I am really tough. I'm smart. This isn't the exact same problem, but I did it last year. I've overcome this. So I would tell people, surround yourself with the right people. Acknowledge your problem. It's totally cool. It's totally fine. It's human. But just be careful with the people in your life that are being sympathetic. The also thing I would tell you is people in your life, misery sometimes loves company. They're not helping you on your journey. There's a difference between, hey, you're going through a tough time, and how are you going to get out of it? How can I help? What can we do?
If today was about how I felt, feelings, emotions, and mood, I never would have got out here and did the work I needed to work. I just followed the plan. Coach Casey had the plan, and I followed it. That was it. No negotiations. Our personal and our work life is very similar. Sometimes mood, emotions, feelings get in the way. Either we don't do stuff or we don't do it to the level we need to. Today I actually had a good day, and emotions, feelings, all were against me. And I just followed Coach Casey's plan. Follow the plan. Don't negotiate with self, just do. It's hard, but it works. Win the 16.
I can't say when the X Ironman is or isn't at this point. What I can tell you, though, is I've been on a journey the last 4 years, leaving corporate America, doing something I've never done. And it's not a midlife crisis, because I'm not in a crisis. I have a great family, I have great friends, I'm good. But I am in a part of my life where I want experiences. So I started my own company. And trust me, when I work for corporate America, it's hard. It's hard. So I didn't leave a cushy job, but I did do something I've never done before. Then I started my own podcast. Never did that before. I don't know what I'm doing. I wrote my own book, first-time author. Win the 16, you got 16 hours in your day to kick butt. I didn't know what I was doing either. I remember my lawyer and friend said, just write. I go, write what? I don't know what I'm doing. We laugh about it. So those are all new journeys, new experiences that I didn't know. Then I now did the half Ironman, and then 3 months later I did the full Ironman. Again, not knowing what I'm doing. So all I can tell you what's next is, at some point, will be another experience where I'm going to have to use curiosity. I'm going to have to use vulnerability. I'm going to have to overcome fear. I'm going to have to get out of my comfort zone. And I'm going to use all these tools that I've been learning over the last 4 years. And I'm going to incorporate that. And I'm sure I'm going to learn more things. And I'm sure at times I'm going to go to the scarcity resource, like I can't do this, just like I did with the book when I told Mark Lucas, my friend, I can't write a book. And I could feel he was disappointed. And then a month later, I called him and said, I'm writing a book. So that's what we'll do. Something. I just don't have it done yet, but something will come to a theater. I'm creating a program from this Ironman, though, for people to learn not to be an Ironman, but everybody has the Ironman problems at work and in their personal life. And it is the same strategies and same problem solving. And I'm going to go around the United States and global and through video, and I'm going to teach people one person at a time, one organization at a time. And I'm going to let them, for lack of a better word, steal from it. And I'm going to share it with them, and they can utilize. Some of the things they're already doing, some of them are not, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's next, and then we'll go from there. We have one life. We have one journey. The ceilings we put on ourselves are natural. They're human. I'm going to do it again. I would just encourage everyone out there, if we can just always remember, ceilings are meant to be broken. And that problem you have and challenge, it's real. It's hard. And you're fighting fear. You're fighting what's made you great and successful. It's what your superpower is. But sometimes those need to be squashed. And we need to go to our tribe, our support system. We need to hear from them. We need to use their expertise and steal from them and knock through that ceiling. And don't be afraid. It's okay to be afraid, but I had no idea that I would for sure be an Ironman. I knew I wasn't going to quit, but I didn't know how does anyone know what their body is going to be like at hour 13 running? You train, you do everything the experts say to do, but you never do all three of those things at the same time. Just like for those people that are thinking about, oh, I'm going to get married. Is the time right? Oh, I might adopt a child. Is the time right? Oh, I'm going to leave my company. Is the time right? No one knows when the exact time. All I would say is, don't wait too long. Win the 16.